Alrighty. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Family Ideas TV, where we're building homes and transforming society. My name is Tosin Okwelua. This video is going to be short. I'm just going to talk about some of the reasons, or actually the reasons why domestic violence may actually not end easily in our society today. This comes as a result of some of the things that were impressed upon my heart to really talk about. And, normally people in the society who are not advocates only cry out or clamor for a change when something happened. But we don't have to wait till something happened before we actually come up and say something about domestic violence. Actually, every week, every one of us should talk to someone or post something about how we can actually end domestic violence in our society. We all know domestic violence is in cycle, so there's always a cycle of honeymoon after every incident. So when the breaking point happen and then there's a big fight or emotional abuse, physical abuse, sexual abuse, or whatever it is, when the cycle is full and there's a breaking, and after some time the abuser will come back and say, hey, I'm sorry, you caused it and all that and all that. Now, here's the thing. Domestic violence might be difficult for us to end if we don't end it in our own home. For many of us who feel this is what is happening in our homes, or even when it's actually not happening in our homes, we still need to end it. We need to help somebody. We need to change something. Because when we change something, then we will begin to experience a drastic end to domestic violence. Let me go to the 5 points that I have here on ending domestic violence from your end, from your home. And the first one is going to be the way you treat your children. Many of us, I understand the fact that people say things like, oh, it's the whole compound or the whole society that help you to train children. But look at the life of people that even want to help you to train those children. What does their life look like? What's their moral standard? What's their integrity like? What's their spiritual life like? What's their emotional understanding like? What's their love life like? So these are the things you need to look at before you actually allow the old village or the old compound to help you take care of your children. Otherwise, you're going to damage the children. You see, I was telling someone sometimes ago, I said, some of you said you want to train your children the way your parents actually trained you. And I said, look, if you try to train your children the way your parents trained you will be doing a lot of damage to your children. You know why? I mean, you and I know how much work the Holy Spirit did in changing us, in transforming us, in turning us to, a better person, right? So it took the Holy Spirit a lot of work to change us, to bend us, to transform us into, on daily basis, actually, because we are all still growing, right? So when you look at this, it takes a long time. So do you now have to train your children that way too? And then it takes the Holy Spirit a long time to work upon their life to transform them to a better person for themselves and also for the society. So we don't want to train our children the way our parents trained us. We want to sieve and take the good ones from how our parents trained us, and then we have to drop the bad ones, from it. So we need to train and treat our children well. I remember, while growing up, I see how people treat me sometimes, simply because there's a particular woman that sells something in my house. There are many of them that sell something, but there's this particular woman. She will send me to go and buy something in the hot sun, right? And when my mom comes back, and she reports me that I don't want to go, I may get beaten, I may get scolded, you know but the truth is, if she knows that my mom will say, don't send my child on an errand, she would have, probably not have cause to, make you go. Because of course, that time, after the hot sun and all that, then you fall sick and you start having malaria and all that, and the problem comes to you. Today, your child might not have malaria, right? It might be some other ways, it might be some other things that they do to them, simply because they are doing it from your approval of the way you are treating your children. So they are definitely going to help you to treat them that way. And then the damaging effect will actually be your own to bear. You don't want to do that. That's not how you want to raise your children. That is not what you want to do. When you raise them that way, it becomes a norm. I was speaking to a doctor this morning, and in the course of our conversation, as she mentioned something, she said it becomes a norm, which is very, very correct. It becomes a norm. They see it as the right thing. So if you maltreat them, when other people also maltreat your children, they won't really see the difference. That's why you see that even in Africa, not until we started seeing, a lot of advocates coming out to talk about domestic violence, a lot of women did not even know what domestic violence is. They don't know the meaning, they don't know what's going on until we come to this understanding. And in our research, this is actually one of my research, actually, there are some women, the Vietnamese women, some of them said they did not see emotional abuse as an abuse, but rather they see it as their husband trying to correct them, right? That's the way they see it. But those things, they have damaging effects on them, right? They have trauma, they have post-traumatic, stress disorder, they have depression, they have anxiety. When the man is coming, they are afraid. And this is also happening even in Africa, even in Nigeria. A lot of women, once daddy is coming, everybody starts shivering. What's that nonsense? What is that nonsense? Once daddy is coming, the children run to the room. The mommy is trying to adjust. What's that nonsense? It doesn't make sense, because that is not life, right? But because that is how daddy behaves, when one of the children also marries somebody like daddy, because your children have the tendency to marry somebody like you. So when your children marry somebody that is like daddy, they think it's a norm. It's not normal. It's not normal. You don't have to start coming. Your children should rejoice when they see you coming, right? That is how it should be. Now let's look at the next thing, because this thing is something that if we don't look deep, we will not be able to change things. So we need to look deeper into this for us to be able to change things, for us to be able to actually end domestic violence, or better still, make it, plummet. The next one is the way you raise them with fear in place of consequence. I see parents, you want your children to fear you, but let me tell you the truth. In this part of the world where we live, right? Once your children turn 18, they leave the house. They leave the house. Even if you want to keep them, they might choose to say, hey, they might choose to call the police and say, hey, we want to leave, but our parents are holding us down. Your children will leave. So when they leave, they become free, they are working, they have their independence. How do you want to greet them? How do you want to handle them? How do you want to manage them in time like that, when they can no longer fear you? So in place of your children, you creating unnecessary and meaningless fear in your children, why don't you create love atmosphere? Some of the things my mate did while I was growing up that I did not do, I didn't do it because I love my mom. She's not a perfect mom, but I love her, right? Because every one of us, we have, we have our positive side and our other side. I love my mom, and so I don't want to hurt her. I don't want my dad to say it's because I'm not there. That's why your children turn this way. So I made up my mind that I'm going to go to school, I'm going to get married properly. And God really helped me. I didn't do that by my power. I did it because I have enough support from my brother, my sisters, the church, right? Those are the people who raised me. Wonderful people in my life, lovely people in my life, godly people in my life. Their influence took me to, the place, at the space where I can confidently say, this is what God is saying. Then I can be on my own and stand on my feet to live right. So when you raise your children in fear, you are not going to do the best. You're not going to get the best. You raise them by telling them the consequence of what they are doing. You see, one of the things that Eli did not do, he actually was telling the children what they are doing, but he wasn't hammering the consequence. We all need to get to that point in our lives when we have to hammer the consequence of things that the children are doing. If you don't let them know the consequence, they will keep doing it, right? Why do you not want to have a boyfriend? Because you don't want to have a child you can't cater for. Because you don't want to be pregnant and be ashamed and stay back at home. Because you have a purpose, you have a dream, you have a vision, you want to become something. And once you get pregnant, that pregnancy will limit the time that you're supposed to spend in becoming what you want to become. That's not what you want to do. That's not what you want to do. You want to do things right so that at the end of the day, you can really experience the fullness of God's purpose for your life. The next one, the way you ask them questions. You see, adults, we think we are the only one going through stuff. No, you're not the only one going through stuff. You are not the only one going through stuff. Your children too, they are going through things. Oh, they have things they are going through. If you ask them, they will tell you they have a lot of things bothering them. They have their own need. That's why you see that quite a number of teenagers, actually, they don't talk to their parents. You know why? It's because there are things bothering them that they can't explain to you. And that is where the way you ask them question comes in. You ask them, what happened to you? Not what is wrong with you. You see, the problem is a lot of parents, what we say is, kí ló ń ṣe ìwọ ọmọ yìí gan? What is even wrong with you? The child does not know what is wrong with them. They don't know. But they know what happened. So when you ask the right question, they will give you the right answer, and you will have the right solution for whatever they are going through in their space of life, depending on where they are and what they are going through. Everyone has things going on in their mind. Everyone has something they are going through. Children have things they are going through too. Therefore, you need to learn how to ask them the right question. Because if you don't ask them the right question, you won't get the right answer. And at the end of the day, you keep causing more harm to them than good. You don't want to do that. You're a good parent. The next one is understanding their love language. And I think I have a video on that, on 5 love language for all of us. Children, the same thing. It's the same love language they have. And you will see that through how they love you, right? Some of them, they want attention. So you give them as much as you can, right? And we need to be creative in this, sometimes I'm talking to my daughter, she just wants me to keep talking, leave the video on, and let's keep talking, right? I remember there was a time she said, Mommy, sleep. Mommy, sleep that way. Let me keep talking to you. So every one of us, we must understand what our children want. What is their need? What do they love? You know, some of them, their love language is gifts. Just keep giving them, just keep showering them with gifts. That's what they want. So we need to learn what they want and give them what they want. In return, they will give you what you want. I promise you, they'll give you what you want. Number 5, you have to listen to what they say and what they did not say. We all must learn to listen to what our children are saying and what they are not saying. Most of the time, people don't always say things, but they have a lot going on in their life. So if you want to do well as parents, ask, listen, listen so well. Sometimes the way they behave will just change. Their body language will just change. Listen to those things. When you listen to those things, you will get the best out of them. When you do all this, number 1, when you treat them better, when you raise them by letting them know consequence rather than fear, they don't need it. When you ask them questions, what happened to you, not what is wrong with you. When you understand their love language and show them and give them their love language. And number 5, when you listen to what they say and what they did not say. When you do those 5, or maybe more, you can let me know in the comment section below what you also think or what you also do. When you do those 5, what you are doing is you are reducing the capacity of an abuser on their life. You can't tell my children you love them to captivate them. No, because I shower them with all the love in word and in deed, in heart and in deed. And there was a time I interviewed them and I asked them, what does love mean to you? And do you think we love you as parents? And they told us, you know, my daughter sent me a letter sometimes ago and I was teary. She was telling me how she understood, how I showed her love, how what I did was what she wanted, right? That is how it is. When you do this, other people outside will find it difficult to hurt them from word, from lies. And so they are able to recognize when they go out there, they see what is different from what their parents have taught them, have shown them. But when you just leave them out there, the outside world is hot. I keep telling you people, I keep telling parents, I keep telling families, I keep telling you, my people, please, the outside world is hot. Don't let your home be hot. It doesn't have to. It doesn't have to. Let it be easy on the children. Because when you do this, and the more you do this, the more you will help us reduce domestic violence in our society. It will be difficult for somebody to deceive your child. It will be difficult for somebody to hurt your child because they have seen the right thing. So when somebody is bringing something that is different from what their parents showed them, they will come home and ask the question, did you give them the opportunity? Please, let us make the adjustments. Help me, help all of us reduce domestic violence in our society. Thank you for joining me today. Till I come your way again, keep becoming a better you. Because things work when we work it. And I'll see you next time. Bye for now. I'm ending my video.